ask you about, did you have occasion to witness an event that happened on March 3rd, 2020 at the intersection of 96th and Ainsworth?
Yeah.
And can you tell the jury, tell us what you recall about what you saw when you got to that intersection?
So when I pulled up to the intersection, there was a police car in front of me. It was a red light. I was sitting there. Nothing was happening that was unusual. The light turned green, and then that's when I realized the cop wasn't going, so I was like, what's going on? I had seen Manny Ellis at the intersection on the sidewalk. What looked to me as if officers maybe got his attention to come towards the door or come towards them. Manuel walked, he's still on the sidewalk, walked to the officer's car. He was a distance away from the door. Looked like they were having a conversation. What I thought was maybe they knew him and they were just asking how he was doing. I have no idea. It was still just like, whatever, you know. Then Manny, he turned around to me what looked like he was walking away, going towards the sidewalk again. But before he could get to the sidewalk or walk away, the passenger officer swung his door open and knocked Manuel to the floor, or to the ground. He was on his knees, and then he jumped out. The driver officer flicked on his yellow lights, jumped out, ran around the front of the cop car, and grabbed Manuel and like body slammed him onto the ground. The passenger officer came from the side, or came, you know, they were all right there, came and then started punching Manuel in the face over and over again. Then they were just like running around on him, fighting him.
Describing what you saw, you mentioned of Manuel Ellis and Manny. Did you know Mr. Ellis?
No.
And had you ever met him before?
No.
So at what point did you learn who he was, who this gentleman was that you saw?
Once I got in contact with his family.
And when was that approximately?
June 4th, June 5th,
Of what year?
2020.
Do you recognize that first of all?
Yeah.
And what is that?
I'm sorry, just.
96 of April.
Thank you.
And can you show the jury on there, to the best of your memory, approximately where your car was parked? All right, and if we could have a mark placed on that, please. And we'll do a screenshot of that, Your Honor, and make it 1 And where was the patrol car that you saw? And what about Mr. Lowry's car? Where was he? Behind you? Yes?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Now, you said that you saw Mr. Ellis on the sidewalk. Can you point to the jury where you recall first noticing him?
Right, like around here.
Right. Do we have that area marked as well? Are you able to see around me? Oh, I'm sorry. Could you do that again? I'm standing in the wall.
That's not where she put it.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit further over. You go into that sort of thing. About there? What, if anything, did you do when you saw Mr. Ellis get hit by the door and knocked down to his knees?
I hurried up and grabbed my phone and started recording.
And how did you grab your phone and start recording?
Because what I had seen scared me, and I didn't see any need for it, so I wanted to make sure that whatever happened was on tape.
And what do you mean that you hadn't seen any need for it?
Because Manny Ellis wasn't doing anything.
And what do you mean by he wasn't doing it?
anything to get knocked down, in my opinion.
Did you see Mr. Ellis strike the car at all?
No,
Did you see him assault the officers in any way?
no,
Did you see him engage in any sort of aggressive action towards the officers prior to seeing the door hit?
no.
After the passenger officer knocked Mr. Ellis down, the passenger officer then jumped out, is that right?
Yeah.
And what, if anything, did you see him do to Mr. Ellis? What was Mr. Ellis's position, first of all?
After he got knocked down, having so fast the driver officer, when he got knocked down, I grabbed my phone. So during that time, the driver officer, which I seen, had gotten out, ran around. So I grabbed Manuel and slammed him down. The passenger officer ran and got on top of him and just started punching him in his face over and over again.
And did you see how many times the passenger officer punched Mr. Ellis in the face?
It was over and over. It was to me, what looked like 8 to 10 times.
Do you know how many times he actually struck him? And could you tell whether or not he was actually making contact with Mr. Ellis's face?
Yeah,
And how could you tell that?
just seeing it.
You could actually see. And could you hear Mr. Ellis at all?
No,
And so there was a period of time that you saw that Mr. Ellis was in contact with the passenger police officer,
yes,
correct? And then when the event happened, is that when you started to record?
yes,
Okay, so like the event happened of the passenger getting out of the vehicle and getting on top of Mr. Ellis, and you started to record
as soon as I seen him get knocked down with the door, I grabbed my phone.
within a second or two.
Yes,
So it was like instantaneous.
yes,
Okay. And then you saw the passenger get on top of Mr. Ellis, correct?
yeah, after the driver officer got out the car, he grabbed Manny and body slammed him onto the ground.
We're gonna get down, that's why I asked what the passenger did. The passenger,
Mr. Prince is just trying to indicate that the other officer had to contact Mr. Ellis first.
well, who contacted Mr. Ellis first, the passenger or the driver?
I believe it was the driver. I can't remember how it all happened right when the passenger got out.
You heard the officer say to Mr. Ellis, put your hands behind your back,
Yes.
multiple times.
Oh yeah, yes, at the end.
So they told Mr. Ellis to put his hands behind his back multiple times, but Mr. Ellis didn't do that, did
No,
he? And you were asked about the taser, correct?
yes.
Which of the two officers do you recall having the taser?
I can't remember which one had it.
But there was a taser that was there.
Yes,
Did you see the taser?
yes.
Did you see it used in any of
I can't remember.
Okay. You've mentioned in an interview that it's been so long ago that you're really not sure about the events that happened on that.
I can remember it. Overall, what happened, what I seen. Can't remember all the details completely.
Okay. You just said that when the traffic light turned green,
Right,
the police car did not move.
right.
You were focused on the back of the police car saying, why aren't they going? And then you saw Mr. Ellis next to the car.
I wasn't focused at the back of the car. I don't know where I was focused at. I don't know if I had already seen Manny. I ended up seeing Manny go to the car. Like I said though, nothing was crazy or nothing was happening. And the whole time I was behind the cop car.
And